coats also hung on this rod, enough coats to equip an army, coats so heavy that the rod bent dangerously between its end point and its nearest support, appearing to be on the verge of breaking. He spied what he was looking for amongst the tools and headed for them, grabbing his parka from the rod as he passed along it, heading for the end wall. Once at the wall, he selected a shovel and an axe, a double-bladed axe, both sharpened ends gleaming dangerously in the light as he pulled it down from the wall. He held the shovel and axe in his right hand, the blade of the axe clanging against the scoop of the shovel as he handled it, careless of the blade's edges being dulled from the contact. He passed into the warmth of the front room, conscious of feeling the warmth of the room being sucked from it by the open door into the bedroom. He dumped his parka on a chair near the outer door and lay the axe and shovel nearby. Then he returned to the back room, back to the pile of tools lumped on the floor, this time grabbing his chainsaw from amongst the mess lying there. The chainsaw was cold. A coating of rime on the handle and on its metal shell was the only thing that saved Art from a bad frostburn. He had made a mistake in picking up the saw, grabbing it by the handle and shell, not the handle only. As he tried to unload it in the front room, the shell stuck to his hand, and it became painful as he continued to try to remove it before he realized what had happened. The moisture on his palm had frozen to the shell, necessitating a trip to the stove, where he held the saw near the belly of the stove until enough warmth had penetrated to melt the ice. "I'm a greenhorn for sure," he thought. "Should have known better. Better watch my step. What's going to be my next damn fool mistake? Something that'll kill me?" Now, having finally gotten rid of the saw, he was able to leave the comfort of the stove and close the back door. The room had lost much of its warmth without doing much to improve the back bedroom. There was no immediate improvement in the front room with the back door closed. Art faced an even harder job ahead, and was not in the mood to appreciate it either. "I'm a damn fool," he thought. "Should have stayed south. Why'd I ever come up here?" But he was here, and he had to make do. His immediate job was to get some firewood ready, get some while he still had some to burn. He opened the door to the great outdoors. A cascade of snow came tumbling in, blocking him from closing the door. But he had not planned on closing it anyhow. He had not realized how cold it was outside. He hurried into his parka, his fingers already freezing before he could fasten the zipper, his fingers even more clumsy as he tried to fasten the buttons securing the outer flap. He had forgotten gloves in his haste. Now he was stuck. The door was jammed open by the pile of snow, the fire totally inadequate to melt the growing pile, and his fingers too cold to feel anything. He needed to move fast, save his whole hand before it became frostbitten, and maybe lead to his death. There was a leather flap over the top of the doorway, secured in a roll by 2 leather cords. His hands were growing numb. He was unable to grab the loose ends of the cord and pull them, thus lowering the flap and helping to cover the door. Now he knew what he should have done first before opening the door. "Damn," he thought numbly. "Am I going to keep making mistakes until I do die?" His body was warm enough. His mind was capable of working. It was only his hands that were in danger at the moment. He moved over to the stove, stuck his hands inches from its surface, and groaned in agony as the blood started to flow again, restoring feeling to deadened nerves. After a few minutes, the agony subsided, and he could examine the skin on his hands. He saw no dead white patches. His hands were okay. He laughed in relief, exulting now in his newfound health, and then returned to business. He dashed to the door and pulled the cords, letting the leather fall down onto the top of the snow pile. Then he dashed back to the stove and warmed his hands again. He jammed his hands into the pockets of his parka, then moved to the back door and opened it, returning his hands to his pockets after the door opened. He kicked the door further open to permit his entry, then he scanned the contents of the inner room, trying to remember where he had put his gloves, the split-fingered ones that he could use while grasping an implement. Memory was slow returning to him. He had to visualize his departure from Seattle, the packing he had done, what he had taken with him, where he had put things. He had driven from Seattle, taking his house along with him, a fifth-wheel trailer home. He was traveling north in the winter-time. He had been told that was the time to go. No bugs, no rainstorms, no mud to slow him down, to bog his trailer. There might be snowstorms, not bad, he was told, maybe delay him a day or two at the most. Then the roads would be cleared and he would be driving on hard-packed snow, not dangerous at all, not with chains on and no other traffic to contend with.